Are you stuck? What about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for 30-minute moments as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. It's time to celebrate that life with 30-minute moments.
Welcome to 30-Minute Moments, and I am your host, Alena Chapman, and I am so very excited today to be talking to you, first of all, and to our guest. But I also wanted to let you know The Prison Effect, the book I have authored, is an international bestseller, but it's also 1 and 2 best-selling on Amazon. And what the exciting news is, I wanted to let you know it is now in the bookstores on the East Coast. Yay! And also in our wonderful Indiana, which I love. I love, love, love. This book is perfect for a person that you know, because it gives you that wonderful life raft in the sea of doubt. And that is a very big C. So if you're looking for, you're just starting over in your life, or someone you know is, or they're just uninspired in their life, or they're retiring, or they're getting a divorce or a new career, this is a book that gives you the tools and the clarity that you can see that path, the strength and the confidence to start achieving it. And then I'll tell you what, it gives you that calmness and peace that everyone loves. So let me know. Go to theprisoneffect.com, because that's where you get the wonderful deal and the wonderful prizes. But now, let's get started with this show. I have this fabulous guest. His name is Suhail Mirza. This man is from the UK. He started as a lawyer and an author. But then, the dark night of the soul, as he coins it, started to happen. It was a time when all of a sudden he had to ask why. Things started to happen in his life. Doesn't this happen to us all? Don't we get to a point when we wake up in the morning and we think, what is this all for? Well, this led him to a profound transformation. As he puts it, quote unquote, you look up and within. The light that shines in each is the same. Let its luminosity guide you to truth. I love that. I love that. So what happened? He was searching for wisdom, and this led him to a traditional wisdom, which provides this illuminating light and created a new path for him as a poet, a spiritual teacher. And he wrote this wonderful book called Many Mansions. And it's a number 3 on Amazon. Congratulations. He's been on BBC and he's speaking all over the world. And we are just so fortunate to have this man, because I'll tell you what, he's going to help us realize that these questions of asking why are totally natural. And with that, hello, Suhail. This is Alena Chapman. Welcome.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Alena. It's an absolute privilege to be joining you and speaking with your listeners.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you, too. All right. I want to start right away because I started it, and I know people are going to want to know. The dark nights of the soul, and it can come, and you and I both know it can come in many, many forms. And then people can be overtaken by this and really, or they try to ignore it, but it's hard to. Could you explain these forms so that people understand?
Absolutely. And the dark night of the soul, as you say, absolutely rightly, it can sometimes come in a sudden manner. It can be a tremendous pain, whether it's in a personal relationship, family relationships, a business failure, those type of things that come out of the blue, unexpected, and really hit you really in the pit of the stomach.
Yes.
And make you question. Now, the dark night of the soul can also be an incremental process, which basically is a form of doubt, pain, worry, effacement over a period of time, which is slowly chipped away, a bit like a glass that's being chipped and broken and suddenly shatters. So we've got to watch for both of those insidious things that can shatter our certainty.
And that's exactly what it does right there. It totally shatters our certainty of life. And so with that, I totally agree. So when your darkest night came, and we are going to talk more about that, it led you to these traditional wisdoms. What do you mean by traditional wisdoms?
No, that's a really good question. If I can step back a little, when I faced the dark night, it made me question what is, as you said at the beginning of the show, what is the meaning of all of this? Why are we here? Who are we? And what is our purpose? And I am a lawyer by training. I'm a pretty well-read individual across all the modern disciplines: psychology, philosophy, history, linguistics. Unfortunately, when I searched for those perennial answers, I couldn't find them in the modernism, knowledge of modernism. I found lots of facts, lots of intellectually interesting, delicious comments, but they didn't speak to my soul at all. Because what modernism does, it highlights and deifies what is ephemeral. That's something that is here today and gone tomorrow. There wasn't a certainty. So what I did is I stepped back and I searched in all the traditional revelations of all the major faith traditions around the world, particularly Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, because they're very well connected, but also beyond. And that path led me to the core wisdom of each of those traditions, and that's what I mean by traditional wisdom. Wisdom that will not be subject to the whims of the day, but which will be principles to which we can hold on as a rope when the world is swirling around us.
You know, I have started. I studied with Wayne Dyer for a long time, and I remember when he started reading the Tao, and he was reading one passage a day. I remember this, and he was saying it was great. He could read a passage, just think about it all day long, and he was getting paid for it. He loved it. But
that's great.
Yeah, it is great. Well, don't we all want to do that? But I really thought, I'm going to start doing this. And I'm not getting paid for it, but that's all right. The message is, so the traditional wisdom I'm finding with that is that it is, it's just time tested. It has been way back in 300 EC. And these people have found these truths, these profound truths that if we apply them to our life, to our thinking, we start to understand the whole meaning of life. Am I along the same path as you? I
completely agree with that. One of the important things that led me as a gateway to that was to confront. One of the things that you have to do if you're going to walk out of a dark night of the soul and reclaim your true divinity and the light that's within you, you have to shed the veils of deceit that you have around you and the veils that you have constructed within you. Now, the first one, the veils around us, I love modern life. I love the fact that we have great medicine, wonderful air travel, incredible technology, digital technology. Yes. These are all wonderful, beautiful things. However, what modernism has done, it has betrayed this traditional wisdom, and I'll explain in a very brief way why. Because what is not often said, modernism, science, psychology, whatever the sciences and the philosophies are, what it actually ultimately says is that you and me and our loved ones are nothing but mere coagulations of energy and matter purposelessly put together. And that, to me, is a desolate place. So I had to confront that veil before I went behind it.
Well, go a little bit further on that, because that's very interesting. How do you see modernism? I love that word, modernism. How do you see it doing this?
What it does is modernism. We mustn't conflict modernity. Modernity is where we live. It's the era in which we live, and we have to embrace that. As we said, modernism is a way of looking at the world.
Right.
And so, for example, the sciences, over the last 150 years, all the various disciplines, psychology, all of these things have basically, their underpinning, their assumptions are that which we cannot measure, that which we cannot see or touch with our instruments doesn't exist. That's a basic premise.
Yes,
so in other words, you and I are simply material energy and matter put together, and beauty, love, truth, these are all byproducts which are accidental. That's what it is, the necessary conclusion of modernism, and that led me to a place of utter desolation. If that's what we were, our humanity's gone. Our humanity's gone.
Yes, it is. Yes. Well, in a big time, because if that's all we are, then that feeling, that compassion, that unconditional love is not important and is incidental. So yeah, that's humongous. That's I love this. Okay. So,
and I wanted to bring that out clearly because
Okay.
it's not often said. It's not often said. We talk about these great scientific advances, and they're amazing. But understand what price we're paying for accepting these conditions. They reduce us to materiality, and we are so much more than that.
we are, and we also it also reduces, I heard a guru say that yoga, he was a yoga guru, and he was saying that when yoga came to the United States, we pasteurized it. We took it and now we have people drinking beer with yoga. That's an I think they call it beer yoga. I'm serious. Or the heat 'em up kind of yoga, and everything is for the physical. We took out the spiritual. We take out the important qualities of things to make it fit into our lives. I think that's where it's hurt the person in their daily life, in that we start to believe this. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I think that is an amazingly profound insight. For example, I have seen, I'm involved in many different businesses, and I have seen many people who are involved in mantras and doing all of these things. But when a real profound cry, that's a little bit like painting the outside of the house, but not worrying about the crack that's in the foundation.
Yes.
Now, you might be lucky and a wind won't come and blow the house down, but if it does, your foundation needs to be solid. So the point that you make is that is like I see so many people now turning to instant Kabbalah mysticism. But Kabbalah mysticism, you have to observe hundreds of commandments in traditional wisdom. This is not an easy thing to do. It's a bit like people going to the cosmetic surgeon, getting a six-pack, and they can't walk up the stairs.
I'm going to take a break right here, and we will continue with that. I love that image. You are listening to 30-Minute Moments, and we will be right back.
You're listening to 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you discover your true purpose on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
Welcome back to 30-Minute Moments. And I am here with a wonderful, fabulous person named Sirha Mirza. And he has written a book called Many Mansions. And I'll tell you what, he is the person who understands the truth, the real truth of why we're here. So, Mirza, I would really, Mr. Mirza, Sirhal.
Let's call Mr. Hale.
Okay, Mr. Hale. I love it. All right. So when we are talking, we just talked about, pasteurizing these truths. But what, when we look for these truths, what does it provide us with? When we find out why do we want to go after this truth, this real truth of oneness, of wholeness? What does it benefit us?
Well, that's a great question, and there's two benefits that certainly flowed to me. A, it gives us an answer to that inner yearning, because however much we have walked away from the path of the divine or the path of spirituality and maybe immersed ourselves in the temptations of the world, deep down in those moments of silence, we have this yearning because we are spiritual beings. So it will help to answer that yearning, because we can only fill our day so much with distraction. I mean, unless you're a billionaire and you can rack up your day forever by doing distractions, you're going to have that emptiness. So it will address that. And secondly, why it's important today more than perhaps it has been for centuries, we see today so-called leaders and people erecting walls and division and doubt and distinction between people. And the central message, the essence of all traditional wisdom, is that message of oneness that you talked about. And one of the best analogies I've ever heard is that all the faith traditions are like points on a circle circumference.
Right.
That circle is one with one center, and the path from each of those points on the circle go to the same center, and that's the spiritual path. That is the same for every tradition, because it's a journey within your heart.
I love that. That is so nicely put. It is this oneness, and I really do think the message of that oneness is love, don't you?
It is the, what they say in Latin, the sine qua non, the actual essence of everything is love. It is not love, not just as a verb, i.e. be loving, give love, but love as a noun. In other words, you and I, the animals, the kingdom, the cosmos, that is love itself. It is love. Our being is love.
Our being is love. I love that. Yes, it is the essence. So, all right, now let's talk about Many Mansions, your book. And in that, you actually give 4 steps to this love, to this truth. Could you explain that a little bit more and about your book?
Sure. The book was came out of a request. I went onto social media, kicking and screaming for many different reasons. I didn't really like social media at all.
Me neither.
Was an ignorance on my part. It was an ignorance on my part.
Yeah,
I started sharing in 2 years ago the journey that I've been on, and people around the world just asked me, what did you do? What steps did you take? Are you writing a book? And that's where the book was born, Alena. So I shared that. And there's 10 steps overall. I'll come onto the path of love in a minute. But the first 6 steps, the first 3 are about the path of knowledge, which we've been talking about. Reclaim that traditional wisdom. You don't need to be a fanatic, but you need to just observe the basic. Hell, if everybody observed the 10 Commandments, the world would be a great place.
Right.
So so you need to just understand that the path of knowledge is first, then the path of action. That requires, and what it required for me was to cleanse my heart, because the light that's in heaven and the light that's in our heart is the same, but we need to orientate our heart for it to be receptive to that light. And what we need to do is purify it, Alena. So what I had to do is I had to witness on my own all the times when perhaps my actions or inactions and thoughts had fallen short of my ideals. And I had to give contrition. Yes. I had to give contrition, because I think sorrow has a fabulous place at the table of transformation. Because if we are truly sorrowful, we can cleanse our heart to its pristine purity again.
I agree with you totally. And it does take that purification and forgiveness of oneself and clarity.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And then what is next?
And after that, and that people should be assured and be reassured on that point. The traditional wisdom teaches, for example, if you've sinned 1,000 times, just come back. The door of heaven and its mercy outweighs its wrath. So it's never too late to make that change. Never too late to make that confession. Once you've done that...
I was going to say, so many people will carry this guilt. And I don't think people understand. I was just talking to a client today or yesterday, and she was saying this guilt that she has been carrying since she was 18 years old, and here she is now 57. And it has altered the way she raised her kids, the career choices she made, the path in the life that guilt, simple guilt.
Well, we need, you see, that's a beautiful, that's what the traditional wisdom, as I understand it, tells us, that this is our faith and heaven is not a caravan of despair.
No,
we are
not.
We are born, and the universe is born anew every moment.
Every moment. I love that.
Moment.
Yes.
And traditional wisdom further says that heaven is so involved with us that even the trajectory of every drop of rain is accompanied by a spirit or an angel on its purpose. So what that really means, going to your point, which is brilliantly made, is that let's be patient and be merciful to ourselves, because if we are sincere in our apology, we need not tarry on what we've done before. We can leave it in the past. It doesn't have to be with us anymore. That's the difference between traditional wisdom. Once you've cleansed it, you don't need to talk about it again.
Never again. Sin no more.
No.
But basically, that's what it is. Sin no more. Those thoughts, that's blaming yourself. And when you do that, you also open yourself up to others, because that judgment is gone.
I think it was said best of all by the teacher himself. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And if you have sinned, it gives you immense tolerance and most of all compassion. So you suffer with others who are suffering from temptation and trials. And our society has become so inverted that it gives us trials and temptations on a daily basis, which were unheard of even a generation ago.
I love this, because we carry so much of the circumstances we've been through, people we've been with, the betrayal, the lies. We carry that like a badge of honor. And really what it's doing, and what we're explaining here, folks, is that badge of honor is actually keeping you away from the oneness that your soul craves so much, and to answer the questions that give your life so much meaning.
That is beautifully put. And what it will then do, when you let go of the past, let go of the shadows, your heart will be receptive to the path of love, which you were talking about earlier, Alena.
Yeah.
And the path of love, that requires you, whatever hurt you faced, whatever pain or betrayal, you have to then have the courage, because you realize how beautiful you are. Whatever's happened, you are beautiful.
Yes.
You will open your heart even more and surrender, because that takes immense strength. Then you can have your angelship manifest itself.
Exactly. We will be right back, and this is my most favorite part of the show. You're listening to 30-Minute Moments. We'll see you soon.
This is 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner self every Sunday on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
Welcome back to 30-Minute Moments and the shift. We are now at the shift, the aha moment, the pivotal moment that brought these darkest hours, but then gave him all the answers. So, Sir Hal, with this, what was your aha moment, your pivotal moment? What brought you through this darkest hour?
Well, I think there were two different steps throughout this process over the last few years. The first trigger that took me on this path was an incident where, through the deceit of a person that was close to me in work and life, an innocent life was affected, and I could do nothing about that. And when an innocent suffers, that makes you question whether there can be beauty and order, and is there really a all-knowing, all-seeing divinity.
Yes.
That was the trigger point that led me to say, I need to find answers to really believe that there is something behind this world. And that's what led me to traditional wisdom. It led me to write to the teachers all around the world. I immersed myself in the texts and the books and the teachings. And I wrote to professors in the United States, Professor Mark Musi, formerly of Harvard, and Rhodes College, professor in Oxford, in the UK, all over, and they wrote back and they helped me to reclaim that knowledge, that belief that there is a higher realm, there are many realms, and that we can access those realms, and that we have a special place in creation and an awesome responsibility that was given to us before time and space itself were created. So that was the first trigger point that led me onto this journey maybe 6 years ago now.
Now, I am going to bring up one question, and I am asking this because I hear the naysayers. So I'm going to bring up this naysayer. It's not really a naysayer, but it is a person who says, my gosh, but that is so much responsibility, and I just want to be simple. And what is your answer to that? Because that is something that a lot, believe it, people do. I've had people say, oh, don't bring up that word responsibility to me. I don't want to hear that. What do you do with that?
And firstly, we can't blame people.
No, of course not.
Seemingly easy life. I escaped responsibility because I made myself numb to those questions by getting lost into the ephemerality and the temptations of the world. However, the question is quite simple at the end of the day. Do you want to live authentically, or do you want to live in denial?
Yes.
If you live in denial, do not think that there's no price that you're paying for that.
Exactly.
Because eventually that price will be exacted, and the price of regret is profound. And that is why I say it doesn't require wholesale shift. You don't need to change the world, because one reformed individual, one smile, one loving action can heal the whole world.
Yes.
That's all we need.
The ripple effect. I call it the ripple effect.
Absolutely.
You shine your light and it just starts rippling out into worlds you don't even know. It's amazing to me. And it is true. And I'll tell you, by opening yourself up to this, such as Sir Hale has, and I have too, when you do that, it doesn't make your life more responsible. In fact, and more busy or more complicated. It actually simplifies everything. And you look back and you think to yourself, my gosh, the busyness. I used to keep myself so incredibly busy with such trite little things. You start to clarify what is nonsense and what is really important. And you guide your life on a much higher plane, a much clearer understanding. Please add to this, because I know you have your own words that are so poetic. I would love to hear your vision on this.
Well, I can speak from personal experience. If there was such a thing as a spiritual MRI scan, then one taken of me today and one taken of me 6 years ago would tell you they can't be the same individual. I, like many other people, had my own path of least resistance, I call it in the book. And these are the paths that we turn to. It could be consumption, it could be drugs, it could be sex, it could be overwork, it could be status seeking. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The point is, my spiritual transformation, as you've said so brilliantly, it's made my life. I'm free. I do not lie. I do not self-lie. I speak the truth. I serve others. I feel joy in my heart. Now, there's ups and downs in the externals of life, but it's given me more peace at the age of 50 than I've ever had in my entire life put together. And that I would not trade for anything in the world. And it just required remembering the divine and taking simple steps each day for a few minutes to connect with that higher light that's within us, which will always shine within us.
That's exactly right. And it does take just a few minutes, but you live your whole life by it. And you are right. It is freeing. I have so much enjoyed this interview. Thank you so much, Sir Hale. How can people find you and your book?
And may I say thank you for giving me the time and opportunity to speak with you.
Of course.
The journey's been amazing. 4 months ago, a former lawyer, as I am, I'm now publishing spiritual, mystical poetry on the theme of love and feminine and masculine love. I just can't believe it. People can find me. My book is on Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, and I would love to hear personally from anybody, because I like to personally speak with people. My website is www.spiritual-solution.com, and that has the book. Spiritual-solution.com,
correct?
That's right, and the book's available. More background about my own story and journey, and also audio courses that I've recorded to help people on a one-to-one basis take those steps which I outline in the book.
Fantastic. Well, I thank you very much. And everyone out there, I'll tell you what, you just need to start looking up and look for that light within and above. And just start asking the questions why. And I'll tell you what, when you start asking why and the curiosity behind it, then you will find the truths. You will read the books. Things they always say, when you are ready, the teacher will appear. Thank you so much for a wonderful show, for all of you for being here. Have a fabulous week. Start to question why. This is 30-Minute Moments, and I'm Alena Chapman.
This has been 30-Minute Moments featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now at wowo.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.